Hi guys, it's Millie with Millie's Vines. I'm a little behind schedule posting video, but we are here now and we are already up to some fun activities. So I hope you all are well, and if you are watching this, thank you so much for being here. Today we are going to do I'm not really sure what to title this, but if you have been watching my videos, if you have a Spiritus Sancti, you might agree with me when I say that they can be hard to, not necessarily, no, they can be hard to style, I'm going to be honest, and they can be hard to find the correct pot, in my opinion. And sometimes you just have plants that are like that. And this has definitely been a struggle for me. They just take up so much space. And because they're like droopy in nature, I just find that it's very difficult for me to style. But I love her, and I do think that I need to get her on a pole. It's kind of begging for it at this point. If you watched my last video, you might know that I'm having to film on my phone, so I'm not able to zoom in. But they have these roots on here. I hope that you guys can see this. And I can tell that it just wants to have something to climb on. The majority of specimens that I see that are growing in the way that I want them to grow are on poles of some sort. I am really not a pole girly, but for this plant in particular, I would be doing it a disservice to not have it on a pole. So priority list today is I have a pole, I have a clear pole, which is nice. I get this from one of my local nurseries, and I have two pots that I am so excited about. This is what it was sitting in previously, and it wasn't bad. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just not doing a ton for me. And I have been envisioning a taller pot for this, which I have found in these two. I'm going to be using this pot for something else. Sometimes you have plants that come in like square nursery pots, so I love that pot for that specifically, but these are the two options. For some reason, this guy was $45 and this was $25. Honestly, I'm like 99% sure I'm gonna go with this one here. And I mean, there's a lot of questions that I have as far as this pot. What I will say is if you ever do something with a narrow neck, you do need to be careful when it comes to unpotting it and like switching pots. It is a little bit tricky to actually get the plant out of here because sometimes, most of the time, it's really difficult to like loosen up the roots at the base of the pot, but that is a battle that I'm willing to fight. So just be wary of that. However, I think that this would look so good in here because it's taller. I think I really love the vibe of this. The only thing I'm worried about is it's a little bit narrow here up top. But like I said, I'm willing to experiment. So it's not the biggest like hole at the top. It's definitely deep enough, like it will have plenty of room. So I'm leaning towards that because of just the vision that I'm having there. This one would definitely work, and it's a lot wider at the top, so it would be no issue there. However, I don't think it's not good or bad. It's just not necessarily doing what this one is doing for me. So we'll see. If for some reason I get into this one and I realize that it's not going to work, this one will be a backup. But I was kind of thinking I'm forgetting what it's called. I'll insert a picture of it here. I just got this plant. It is like a midnight cactus or something like that. I think it would be really cool in this pot. So I don't know. We will see. We are going to start with this pot though. Okay, we have switched up the angle here, so hopefully you guys can see a little bit better. I think that this is actually a benefit of using the iPhone because you can kind of move it around a little bit easier. I have my mix made up for this plant. I ended up using a lot of pumice instead of orchid bark because the bag of orchid bark is in my car and I'm quite honestly too lazy to go and get it. And then in the pot here, I have, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a piece of cheesecloth on the drainage hole, just so we don't have all of that soil and dirt coming out of the bottom, because that really annoys me and just makes things a little bit more messy than they need to be. So this is the challenging part about using a moss pole, because I don't necessarily want to start it all the way at the base, because then I lose like the benefit of like the other half of it just being underneath and it's not super usable. With that being said though, I do like to make sure my moss poles are buried kind of deep just so they don't like move around and stuff, because that really annoys me. So I probably will have the moss pole like this deep, and I think I'm just going to pack the bottom with soil, lay this on top, and then put the plant in. I feel like that makes sense to me. So I'm going to do that now. I would say if you're more new to houseplants, I would probably not recommend doing an up pot that is this much bigger, since this is a pretty big size up. However, I'm pretty aware of like how I need to water when I'm in a pot that's this size. It just really means that instead of watering this like twice a week, I'm probably going to water it like a week and a half now, since it's got so much soil in here. So just be mindful. You definitely don't need to size up this much when it comes to repots, but I'm kind of going for aesthetics here. And like I said, I'm mindful of what changes I'll need to make when watering. But I will say this is a lot of dang soil in here. Maybe this is a bad idea. I don't know. We're gonna try it. We're gonna send it. We're gonna see what happens. I feel like this is pretty good right here. We might just honestly cut me filling up this moss bowl, because this is such a mess. To be honest with you guys, I'm kind of just like, I don't know, you know those times where you're just like low energy and like not super motivated? So it's like another reason why I've been having like a hard time. Besides the fact that I'm just working a lot, I've just been not feeling super inspired, and I know that that happens time to time. So I've been just like, I don't know, struggling, thinking of something to film. And even today, I'm like, I have a little bit less energy than usual, but that's okay. We are humans and that happens, and we just do what we can. But if I seem not as wild and passionate and chaotic, it's because I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't even know the word for it, but it's okay. It is okay. So we've got that moderately filled up. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now we are going to take out this little plant baby, which honestly has needed to be repotted for a while. This is a super small nursery pot. I'm taking a risk by putting this in here. I really am. It's not super root bound, but it is drying out pretty quickly in this pot. And with summer approaching, I have no interest in keeping up with the current watering needs. Okay, so right now I'm just trying to see where it's gonna sit, and it is sitting a little bit too low. Oh, it looks so cute though! We're gonna put a little bit more soil in here, and then I'm gonna try to push, if you guys can see this, it's kind of leaning forward. I wanna push it into the moss pole so it kind of starts to feel that it's got something to grow into. So I've kind of got it at an angle now, and then we're just going to come in and backfill. Oh, this looks so cute. I have been waiting. There's certain plants, like I said, that are just kind of tricky when it comes to finding the right pot, finding the right place for it. This is definitely probably my most tricky one. And when I saw this pot at the nursery, I instantly was like, oh my gosh, this is the one for my Spiritus Sancti. I won't need to repot this for like 2 years. And like I said, I'm gonna have to be super careful with watering, but for this finished product, I think it will be so worth it. And this moss pole that I have, they have 3 different options. They have them in black. They have them in like a opaque, is that the word that I want to use? An opaque color, so it's not like clear. You like can't see through it as much, but it's still light in color. And then they have the clear ones, which is the one that I have. I kind of favor the clear ones because you don't notice them as much. But just know that if that doesn't like match your vibe or your aesthetic, they do have other options. If any of you guys are thinking that this is too big of a pot for this plant, technically, you are correct. And technically, I do agree with you. I know some of you guys live in totally different environments than me, but I will tell you the summers are so hot here, like 120 degrees, I'm not even kidding, that anything that I can do to cut back on watering with my plants, I'm probably going to do, because there are certain plants that I will literally have to water twice a week. And these are my indoor plants. My bonsai outside, I have to water daily. Some people even recommend watering twice a day. So I kind of err on the side, especially like for my bonsais and some of the stuff outside. Not my cacti, but my bonsai specifically. When I repot them, I go up maybe a little bit more than you would normally recommend, just because watering twice a day, as much as I love them, is not going to be an option for me. All right, we are pretty good now. So I'm going to come in. One thing that I really learned the hard way is not to pack the soil in too tight when you're doing repots. I used to do that all the time and the plants really suffered from it. So if you notice that when you do repots, the plants like just die or look so sad, you might be packing them in too tight. So I try to just go around on the sides and shimmy some of this down, because sometimes you have empty pockets that don't have dirt in them, but I really don't want to pack it too much. Okay, that is pretty good there. Ah, I feel like it looks so cute. We are going to finish this top moss section. I don't have a good way to do this, so we're just going to do this spoonful by spoonful. This is the more moisture retentive mix that I have. This, from what the plant shop said, is what they use in most of their moss pools, because it retains a lot of moisture, so you don't have to water as much. And I'm just going all the way up with this. I will probably water this plant, I would say, in like 2 days, because it was watered recently. So I don't want to overdo it, especially since it's in a lot of soil now. But I will give her a good drink towards the end of the week. Okay, I think that is good. I'm going to clean up my mess and I will show you guys the finished product. Are you ready? Final reveal. Boop! Does that not look so good? It looks amazing. So I probably will add a Velcro, like little piece of tape to bring this a little bit closer, because I don't know, I was already leaning forward, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I will pin it up against this moss pole just so it can kind of learn that it's got a little support system behind it. I think this looks fantastic though. It is super heavy, and I haven't even watered it yet. So we will see how this plant fares in here. I think it'll be fine though. There's a lot of pumice. It's terracotta, and I'll just be super mindful of the watering, but let me know what you guys think. I will show you what it looks like in the finish. I think that's always the best part, is to see the final reveal and where it will sit. But that is all for the Spiritus Sancti. I hope that this helped when it comes to finding and just waiting for the right pot. You're not always going to find it the second that you get the plant. I've had this plant for quite literally probably well over 6 months, I want to say, and I'm just now getting around to finding a great pot for it. So these things take time, but when you do find them, it is just the most magical moment. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let's take a sneak peek at where it is going to sit, and that will be it. Here she is. I think it looks so nice in this pot. I will say I would love if it didn't need a moss pole, but it is fine. I think that the pot itself takes up more space, so it just looks a little bit more, I don't know, before when it was in the square pot, it just looked a little bit too small, and now it looks like it has its own, like, I don't know, it's just commanding the space a little bit more. I think it looks so pretty, moss pole and all, and I am super happy with how this came out. So that is it for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.